Actually, the Incredible Top doesn't need that much of an introduction for those who have seen me and him go live before at my channel. We did a live stream together initially titled The Mathematics of Life. I have it here at my channel, but he also has that live stream over at his channel too. So make sure that you check out that live stream at his channel or my channel, but make sure that you go subscribe to The Incredible Top, also called the Topcast. And without any further ado, what up, Top?
What's good, Ray J, man? It's been a while. How you doing, man?
Man, blessed and highly favored. Can't complain, man. Another day up to see the sun. It's a blessing, man.
Definitely. That's always a blessing. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on how you look at it, because some people believe that what happens after this lifetime is the real blessing. But I consider it all to be a blessing because you get to witness the Creator through His creation.
I know that's right. Uh, Kind of like what I want to. Actually, you know what? I'll go in and ask you a question, and then you just start to chime in with your perspective. Now I've talked about this with a few people here at this channel before already. This Sigma topic, and I know you've done a little bit of uploads and live streams talking about it too. But the main question that's led to this title, the Sigma Identity Crisis, is, and there's really no right or wrong answer, but like from your perspective, do you think a Sigma is born, or do you think a Sigma is made?
Well, I'll just use myself as an example because I consider myself to be a Sigma male. I'll just like to just diverge here for a second and say that a lot of people don't believe that there is a such thing as a Sigma male, and they only believe in alphas and betas. And to that, I would respond by saying that's as silly as believing that there's only black and white when we know that life is lived in the gray, and you can't have gray without black or white, which is kind of how I, analogize it to myself. And as far as there being an identity crisis, from my point of view, I've always stated from that I've thought that Sigma males, real true Sigma males, are born, and it's because these archetypes are based primarily not just on social structure, but your own personality, and you're basically you're born with a certain personality, and then over time it gets developed and enhanced more, and you make little changes here and there along the way as you learn new things, but your core personality is always the same from the moment that you 6 years old on. So I would say that I have a tendency to think that a real Sigma male, not these hybrid guys, and I'll get into that later, are born. Just like real alpha males are born. You can see the traits when males are very young. So I would say that I believe that Sigma males are born, a real Sigma male is born, but that through societal pressures and situations, a Sigma male can be made, or can a male can become a type of a Sigma male. And I and several other people have pointed out that there are essentially like two types of Sigma males. You have the Sigma males that are, like I mentioned before, that are born, that you can analogize like a tiger. And then you have Sigma males that are made, which you can analogize like a lone wolf or a packless wolf, because both of those analogies work in regards to Sigma males. Well, that's my answer for that.
Okay, cool. Now, with that said, like, yeah, I've been kind of been looking at it too, like from, like you said, a hybridized perspective, and so it's led one to believe, like, given going forward, there's been like when I used to put out a lot of Sigma content, I would see a lot of split in I guess opinions about it. So that told me that there was something to this as far as this born and made conversation about Sigma. Like when did you like really like without you don't you only have to tell so much, but when did you really discover that you had this thing called Sigma, like the age before the term was even out there? Like when did you realize you were more of like a standalone type of a person?
Well, like I just mentioned previously, I know my answer was probably kind of long winded, but and this is the reason why I say that I believe that Sigma males are born. Is just take for example, a typical characteristic trait of Sigma males are that they are generally like loner types, and most Sigma males exhibit that quality. But then there's those of us, and I use myself again as an example. I've always been that kind of a person as far back as I can remember. If both of my parents were still alive today, they would be able to come right on here and co-sign that for me. They would be able to tell and relay stories of how, like when I was a kid, I had my Transformers and whatnot. And this is back in like the 80s. And my little G.I. Joes, and I'd be in the room all by myself for hours and hours and hours, days and days and days upon end. And I would only come out to interact with my family or to eat or to go outside. But I've always kind of like been in my own little world, in my own head, satisfied with being in solitude and in my own company, which is a typical Sigma male trait. Well, a lot of Sigma males I've noticed have to develop that trait because they didn't have it to begin with. Whereas, in my opinion, a real Sigma male that's born like that is already ingrained in his personality is why I say that Sigma males are born and not necessarily. They can be made, but a real one is born.
Yeah, that's a good overall assessment you gave. Like it's actually led me down a certain path. Not I don't really want to say too much. Like this is pretty much your live stream right now. So, but I just really wanted to speak on this idea that since there's the born and made conversation, like uh, it's actually led me down a path of where I don't even say the word Sigma for myself, but I still obviously believe in it at its core. But I've been saying lately that I'm more on the side of being like an enigma versus Sigma. Just saying that the majority that feel they were made, they're all saying Sigma, and so some of the ways they think doesn't always line up with the ways that someone thinks if they were born a certain way, like because there's certain experiences that you might have had that a person that became that way just didn't have. There's certain abilities, there's certain ways you kind of look at things. Like you could kind of like that statement that an animal is solitary by nature, and then I developed this idea that you got solitary by nature but also solitary by nurture, like you said, based on societal things that could have made a person shift into a different direction. Like they would have to be by themselves because whatever they've been through, they just want to be by themselves now, even though that wasn't like in their nature at first.
Exactly. And that this would take us into the conversation in distinguishing one Sigma type from another Sigma type. I did a video on this like a year and a half ago. It no longer exists because I wanted to redo it, and so I deleted it, but I never got back around to doing it, to explaining that there, as far as Sigmas are concerned, just before I go to that, just to address what you said about you using the term enigma rather than Sigma. Being an enigma or mysterious is also one of the traits of a Sigma man. And the reason why they're mysterious for the most part is because they keep to themselves. And they only, really communicate on a certain level with most people. But then, there's some people that they communicate with on a much deeper level. So that leads to Sigma males having that attribute of mysteriousness, or being a hard to figure out, or enigmatic. So, but to continue with what I was saying, I do agree with what you're saying. A lot of guys who would be categorized or call themselves Sigma males came to be in solitude, not because it's their preference, but they were kind of like pushed into having to embrace solitude. And thus they were able to travel the path that a Sigma male travels, which is how they became to be known as Sigma males. But what I think is that a lot of males that are considered to be Sigma males by themselves mostly are not really Sigma males. They're like variants from the Loki episode. So this is where, you get into the different male archetypes. So, and this is just my opinion. It's not a fact or anything like that. But I consider the Delta males, Omega males, and Gamma males to be essentially betas, but they have some of the same traits that Sigmas have, which is what makes them Deltas, Omegas, and Gammas. And then they have their little things that separate them from each other, but they are essentially in the beta spectrum. So they would be like, if alpha and beta are the extremes, then delta, gammas, and sigmas would be, you have alpha on one extreme, beta on another extreme, sigmas out the picture, but delta, gammas, and omegas more in the beta side, but with some of those sigma male traits. And it's just my personal opinion. I think that a lot of guys that regard themselves as sigmas are not really sigmas, at least not yet. They really deltas, omegas, and gammas.
Facts. I agree with that. Like, I think for the longest, like you said, with all this talk of who was alpha male and all that stuff, like the biggest, I don't know if this is the right word for this conversation, but blunder that I think has taken place recently is that masculinity now can be defined with solitude versus prior to that, it seems like, to be really the ultimate man, you got to win over the crowd, win over the room, win over the ladies. Whereas, the movies, sometimes the movies do say it best. There's always that one guy out of everybody else in the room that's off into a corner. And yet he might end up being the one that causes the most curiosity for people because he didn't need the crowd. He didn't need the room. He didn't need all the women, you know. But ironically, some people were attracted to that. So I think like in these especially these masculine spaces, whether manosphere or not, now there's this other conversation of this other guy who probably is he's more formidable than even the alpha male around, but he's not labeled an alpha. I think that's kind of been what I see the alpha crowd kind of trying to buck, but it's like, no cap. Like there is that other guy who didn't need the crowd, who still can move a crowd, but he doesn't need the crowd.
Oh, absolutely. And I've actually gone through situations in my lifetime where I've been in the position exactly like you described, where I may walk into a room and it just be my presence and my energy that make people's heads turn. And I'm not in there fraternizing with anybody. I'll give you an example. I went to a Christmas party, 2019. And when I showed up in the Christmas party, because I was looking so handsome and gorgeous, and I walked through the door, and like the first chick I seen, she like popped out of her fucking chair like a jack in the box. Now, later on, I was able to get her information, and I checked it out a few times, but the point that I'm making is that Sigma males have some of the same characteristics that alpha males do, but we're not alpha males. We're not beta males either. And how you know that a Sigma male is not a beta male or alpha male is because, one, he will refuse to allow an alpha male to dominate him. Whereas in most cases, when you have two alpha males up against one another, one invariably becomes a beta by default because he just got chumped by another alpha. Well, you can't do that. You can't do that with a Sigma. A Sigma can't be dominated by an alpha, and a Sigma can't be dominated by a beta either. And just like you see with alpha males, a Sigma male has the ability to control a group of people just like an alpha male does. The only thing is we don't want to, because we don't want the responsibility that comes along with that. And so, you know, like I said earlier, a lot of people say that Sigma males don't exist. But before I ever even came on YouTube, I was like this. You know, you get guys that say, so when did you become red pill? Well, I've been born since 1976. I came out the pussy red pill. Technically, that's what you want to call it. But I've been like I am from as far back as I can remember. You know, I've always been a loner type guy. I've always been somewhat intelligent. You know, I've always been able to get women, and I noticed this a long time ago, by not even trying to get them. You know, I just show up. And I remember when I first started my new middle school. I was going to Hart Middle School. Anybody from New Jersey know about Hart Middle School, especially if they from East Orange. But I remember distinctly showing up to the new school and hearing all of the girls whispering and shit. Yeah, that's him, girl. That's the new guy. He cute, ain't he? And I'm not like campaigning and trying to be cool with everybody or nothing. I'm just doing my own thing. So, you know, that's how it's going for me. And I can't say that for a lot of guys who consider themselves to be Sigma males, that's their experience. Which leads me to believe what I said earlier.
Yeah, that's major facts. Like Venom, he said something pretty interesting. He said Sigma male is low key alpha, but does not value attention, but enjoys solitude until necessary to lead. See, I always like to think like you'll have like a certain alpha male guy. You know, he's pretty much like he'll consider himself like a Swiss Army knife, because usually, you know, those type of guys, they think they could do everything, right? Be everywhere, do everything. You know what I'm saying? Just that 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 number one guy. You know, they gotta be number one at everything. But I always felt like with a certain Sigma male type of guy, okay, you got the Swiss Army knife with the alpha, but the Sigma, it's like when they yell out, "Unleash the Kraken." That means like the ultimate gauntlet, the peacemaker, the
The
when you want to,
Infinity Gauntlet.
yes, the Thanos snap, yes, yes.
I could dig it. And another thing, you know, that I've noticed over my lifetime is that when I've been in situations, you know, with alpha males, many times I've gotten the impression that they were kind of like intimidated by my presence. And, you know, like I was saying earlier, it's because I've concluded anyway, it's because it's going to be damn near impossible for an alpha male to try to dominate a Sigma male, because we're just not going to have it. You know, it's like, okay, this is a battle to the death. You just going to have to kill me. But I'm not getting ready to do none of that shit that you talking about. You know, and another thing that, and I think that this is important because, in my opinion, I would say that a Sigma male has all of the best qualities of alpha males and some of the best qualities of beta males, insofar as as sigma males, we have the ability to basically move in and out of any group of people. So we sigma males have absolutely no problem cooperating with an alpha male, but it's going to be to our ends. We're not really there for the alpha male. We're there for ourselves. You understand what I'm saying? And the same thing goes with betas. But what typically happens, at least in my experience, is when I get around a group of betas, they all look up to me like I was the alpha. You know, and I'm like, no, this is how you do it. I'll show them, rather than try to lead them, so that I can maintain my sovereignty and not have to be responsible for other people.
Well, you brought up another good point earlier, like, and it makes you wonder, like, with this whole red pill thing, like, uh, is, I guess, with what we're talking about, like, with someone that was truly like born solitary, were they like the real red pill, if you will, the real pill? Like, basically, was Sigma the red pill before the red pill? Like, because you think now, like, now all of a sudden you hear some of these alpha male guys talking about, well, you got to learn how to be alone sometimes. Sometimes you got to be alone, but it's not in their nature. It's not within their fabric to challenge to have this idea of be alone. They'll just have more peaceful company. The last time I checked, so it's
Yeah,
funny.
alphas are just by definition of the archetype, they can't be in solitude, because again, like I pointed out, one of their qualities is the quality of leadership. You can't be in solitude and be a leader at the same time. You got to pick one or the other. And this is one of the most notable differences between sigma males and alpha males. We both have the ability to be leaders, but sigma males prefer solitude. Like me, I don't care about hanging out with a whole group of people. In most cases, I prefer not to hang out with a whole group of people. But I do also understand, because I've noticed it and I've come to conclusions about it already, that, like with the Christmas story that I didn't finish, but when I walk into a room, people notice. And I don't have to be loud and rambunctious and let everybody know that, I'm the man in this room. You understand? So like at the Christmas party, I got make long story short, I got my little chicken and went to the middle of the room so that I can observe everybody observing me. You understand what I'm saying? But the typical alpha male would have went in, and the group in the room would have crowded around that person. So
Facts, just like what Kujin said, right? The alpha male loves to show off. Yeah, they got to be the talk of the party. Like before I digress too much, I was gonna say, because when you brought up the lone wolf earlier, like I've been breaking down this whole wolf thing for a little minute, like, but basically in a nutshell, like a lot of these hybrid guys that you talk about, at most they're probably just like a wolf dog hybrid in many ways. But I guess with that said, uh, a lot of these guys, to me, they're not really lone wolf. They're just rogue wolves, because even the hunters know the difference. Like hunters actually, they don't shoot lone wolves. They shoot rogue wolves, the wolves that don't act like a typical wolf acts. Because actually, like most lone wolves, they know they don't go by certain forms. They know they'll get shot, so they instinctively know where to go and where not to go. But a rogue wolf, if he's sick, if he's let's say he's injured because of another wolf, or he has some type of disease, or he's just like hungry and he doesn't know how to survive, that wolf gonna do everything. And so I've come to this conclusion that a lot of what we see amongst these hybrid guys, I consider them just feral, because to me, like, kind of like uh before the red pill and all that stuff, like I used to just say I'm wild. You know what I'm saying? You got the difference between the wild and the tame versus the red pill and the blue pill. But when you look at society, it's either wild, tame, or domesticated.
indeed, I liken Sigma males on one end to being like a conscious non-participant in the pack, and for real Sigma males, it's by choice. But what we do see in regards to some of these guys who describe themselves as Sigma males, they didn't leave the pack by choice. They kind of got ostracized from it. So there's a difference.
Yep, yep, yep.
And this is what I'll be saying in regards to a lot of guys who say that they are Sigma males. If you do not prefer, I mean highly prefer, like 80% of the time or more, to be in solitude, then you're not really a Sigma male. Not really.
So either they were kicked out the pack or they were kicked out of the civilization, and
Mm-hmm.
that's what makes feral. Because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Wolf that was kicked out the pack early, he didn't learn the essentials of surviving, and so yeah, that's deep because I even broke down in and I just a lot of people don't understand like a wolf pack actually isn't a hierarchy. It's a family of wolves. You got your auntie, your uncle, your brother, your cousins, all of them in one pack. But the funny thing is, like during the day, all the wolves don't necessarily be around each other. Only like they come back to take care of the pups or they hunt like prey that they normally couldn't hunt by themselves. Like they pretty much function like a family. Like a lot of humanity was developed from watching wolves. That's the crazy thing about it.
Here
But
go the, here go the thing,
yeah.
Ray J, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but I think it's very, very important that this be pointed out. A lot of guys on the internet, especially in this red pill manosphere shit, would say, at least that's what they're saying now, because a year and a half ago, everybody was an alpha male or sigma male or this kind of male, that kind of male. Now you don't hear that so much in the conversation, which lets me know that a lot of these guys are as fickle as women. But uh damn it, I forgot what I was getting ready to say.
Oh,
You
you'll get
said
around to it.
you said something, and I was getting ready to respond to it, and I forgot that damn quick. You just go ahead what you were saying. I'll come back to it.
Um, I'll read off some of the comments here while you think of that. So
No, go
uh
back to the statement that you made before I started talking.
all about the wolves or just in general. Okay. No, I was just saying like a lot of people they misunderstand like obviously with the way the wolf can be like a lot of these guys that claim they sigma they're really not like you said because they don't prefer to be alone. They were put in that situation. So that's the animal that's feral, whether it's a wolf or not. It's feral because it was put in a solitary situation that it wasn't ready for. And so now it's don't have these essentials to survive. And a lot of people don't understand, like even with the wolf pack, they think it's a hierarchy, but it's actually a family. You got your uncle, your auntie, your nieces, your cousins, all of them
That
like a family. That's how the
that was
wolves
it.
are.
That was it. That was what you were saying. Hierarchy. Boom. Okay. I forgot that quickly. Please excuse me. I'm almost 50 years old. I got the right to forget. Plus, this joint is good to the motherfucker. But anyway, I wanted to speak on that, the concept of hierarchy, because you get a lot of guys nowadays, they say, oh, no, fuck that alpha, beta, sigma shit. That shit don't hold no weight. But it does. And I just like to take the time to point out that we always operate within some type of a hierarchy. For example, me and you, Ray, we just regular citizens, right?
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
Okay, so next up in the hierarchy above us would be somebody like the police, for example, and then above them would be the lawmakers, and then et cetera, et cetera. But that's just to point out that hierarchies do exist, and it also applies amongst human beings. As a matter of fact, we organize ourselves into hierarchies. When guys go to work, they don't mind accepting the label of employee as opposed to the boss. but they come online and, you know, they can't be a beta because, you know, they don't like the way it makes them feel. You understand what I'm
See,
saying? But the point that I
see.
make, the point that I'm trying to drive home is that, and there's no way around it. You can go out and see this in nature. Nature has a way of allowing organisms to organize themselves into hierarchies. So that's to make the point that these hierarchies amongst us males do exist, because I've seen it plenty of times where the biggest dude who could fight generally runs the show. You understand what I'm saying? Don't nobody give him too much static. And whether you call him an alpha or not, that's what he would be by definition. So for all of the guys out there that say, you know, I don't, you can't label me, and you know, we there's no such thing as alphas, betas, and sigmas and the like. You're full of shit. That's all I'm saying. But that was what I forgot to say that I wanted to say in response to what you said.
Oh yeah, that's fast because that brings up something else that I've talked about at my channel, like the difference between the wolf world and the dog world. Like in the dog world, they got all that hierarchy all day long. You see it. They got a pecking order. And usually, like you said, the biggest dog, even though sometimes it be the smallest dog barking, makes you wonder, does the small dog call the shots to the big dog, even though the big dog got the bigger bite? And it's funny because you sometimes see that amongst actual dogs. That's a crazy thing. But like amongst wolves, they a little different. Like they pretty much, if they don't see you as part of a pack, part of a family, they see you as like they got a pretty much an infrared beam on you. They do not like you if they don't consider you part of a pack, part of a family. So the way society developed the hierarchies outside the wolf world was when obviously people don't even know. Like people think all dogs came from wolves, and that's not even the case. Like uh, there's a separate breed of canine outside of wolf. Now, some dogs are mixed or they have a wolf ancestor. Some of them do. But some dogs are purely from an ancestor of a dog. And with that dog ancestry, you see a lot of those hierarchical tendencies. And so I think over time, as humans started to take on some of the likeliness of the dog world versus the wolf world, there was always that one person that was, I guess you can say, more wild, more wolf-like, if you will, more solitary. Like they couldn't be uh, barked upon like you would see other dogs. Like it's funny, like even when you want to relate this to women, like when a chick look at you and she be trying to size you up like you just a typical dog. Like you can't, you can't even say to her, "Oh, baby, that's just the dog in me," because you don't even behave like a dog. So I think about a lot of that stuff. Like people just really just starting to understand what the solitary life is like for some of the masculine out here.
Yeah, well, a lot of guys don't understand that, you know, you have to take some periods of solitude, irregardless of what, you know, archetype you would fall under. And it's just in my opinion anyway, it's a typical quality of men. You know, I think a lot of men do it mentally more so than, you know, any other way, where they close themselves off, you know, to certain people for a certain amount of time. So I just say that I think solitude should be adopted and employed more as far as a lot of these guys go who are out here trying to, you know, gain some semblance of their manhood. And it's because it gives you the opportunity to sit down and do some thinking and some planning, which is what you need in order to do some thinking and some planning. So this is, you know, in part what the value of solitude. But like I said earlier, Sigma males, you know, what I consider to be a real Sigma male, it's, you know, we make solitude into an entire art form. and the way I look at
Exactly.
it.
Exactly.
We make it look like you should be living like this. And just to point out to guys, this is not, Sigma males, although we haven't always been called Sigma males. We've always existed as long as people have existed. In Africa, you have, examples would be like the griots, the traveling griots who will just go between from village to village, passing on wisdom and sharing stories, etc., etc. But that guy was a loner. He didn't depend on a whole group of people to survive, which is very much the way that Sigma males, the way we operate. We don't necessarily need to be around a big group of people in order to get the things done that we need to get done. And like I said earlier, we have the ability to basically assimilate with any group. But yeah, you have another example of Sigma types would be like the Ronin samurai, who, although they work for the emperor, could very well, live on their own terms, which is what you see with Ronin samurai, because they are essentially masterless, solitary people. So, that's I just wanted to put that in there.
Facts. And there was always the emperor trying to send ninjas after the samurai when the samurai decided to be Ronin. But people don't understand that though. They don't understand the difference with the samurai and the ninja. That's the crazy thing, man. But yeah, I think we could wrap it up here, man. I got a few closing thoughts. I probably got a few more, but probably save it for another time for sure. But my closing thought would be, and you can pretty much have yours too. And my thing is like, even amongst the so-called black men, uh, there's a rise of guys that you wonder if they're beta, alpha, or not. But I think this Sigma thing, I see more hybrids. Guys that are actually born with the trait, I think, are rare. Kind of like the INFJ personality. Some people are starting to say that's the Sigma personality. But my problem with the INFJ, if it's considered the world's rarest personality, why everybody all of a sudden saying that they're INFJ? So I was always curious about that. But yeah, um, just
Yeah,
my
I would.
observation on that.
Yeah, I would say, um, basically, all men have some alpha and some beta within them. It then comes down to a matter of how those traits are expressed in the particular individual guy. That will determine if he's going to be viewed as a beta or an alpha. And we Sigmas have a tendency to confound people because they don't know if we alphas or betas. They don't know exactly what the fuck we are, but they know that we different, which is part of our allure. Um, I would also say that most guys that call themselves Sigmas, in my opinion, are really uh, most likely deltas, gammas, or omegas, which I mentioned earlier. I consider to be essentially betas, but they have Sigma traits, which, for example, uh, outside of an omega, for example, would typically be your jerk manager. But once he goes home from work, he's solid. He's in solitude. He's not really popular with the ladies and shit. So, outside the context of the job. So, outside of the job, he keeps to himself. Well, solitude is very much a Sigma trait. So that's an example of what I'm talking about when I say those things. But in regards to the rarity of Sigmas, in my opinion, the Sigma male is the most rarest kind of male. And so there's no way, a lot of people just simply, they I don't think that they would be able to live their life the way I consider real Sigma males to live their lives. And then again, like I said earlier, I believe a lot of your traits are already within you. You're already predisposed to have, you know, a certain personality type, and it's very, very difficult to change that. You know, not impossible, but very difficult. And so, what with the Sigma males being the rarest of all males, they're going to be very few and far in between. And then you have the next rarest group of males, which are the alpha males, and then the large body of males are betas or some kind of beta variant. You know, like I mentioned
Hey,
earlier.
hey, not to interrupt, but I'm a kind of take care of some in the back scenes, but feel free to still chime in because yeah, make sure everybody go and check out Incredible Top, go subscribe to him, check him out. But yeah, anybody in the chat, uh if y'all got any questions for Top, he's here. But yeah, go ahead and continue to chime in. I'm listening. Give me a second though. Do your thing though, fam.
Yeah, and you know, this it's no disrespect. I ain't throwing no shade at guys, or you know, no hate or nothing, because you need every archetype in the society, obviously, because we all exist. So, you know, my message would be figure out what you think you are, no matter what that is, and rock out with that to do, you know, do it the best to the best of your ability. There's nothing wrong with being a beta. You know, being a beta is no more uh, a thing than being an alpha. It's just that, you know, beta people, alpha people, sigma people, gamma people, we all have distinct personality types, which, you know, causes us to behave in particular ways. And these particular ways have been categorized and grouped under these different archetypes. And I would also like to say that it's just in my opinion, but another reason why a sigma male is unlike an alpha or a beta is due to what I said earlier. A sigma male not allowing an alpha to dominate him, or uh, and not allowing a beta to dominate him either. And this is what puts the sigma male out of the typical hierarchical structure, where, you know, where you get people who say that, you know, we're not in the hierarchy, we sit outside of the hierarchy. And in my opinion, this is why. And it's because we won't be dominated by alphas or betas. And that being the case, it means a sigma is always a sigma. Whereas the alpha generally dominates the beta, which is why the beta follows the alpha. And in, you know, some cases, you get some betas that grab their nuts and then they become the new alpha, making the old alpha the new beta. Well, you don't have that situation with sigmas. You can't reduce a sigma to something else. But that would be my closing thoughts. If you guys would like to, I got 2 Instagram pages that you can follow me on. The first one is, you know, my name here on the screen, the Incredible T.O.P. Then I have another Instagram page for my YouTube channel, and it's the Topcast Instagram page, the T.O.P. Cast, CAST. And you can follow me there. I kick a lot of shit. A lot of fuckery be going on there. You have some fun. You learn some things. I also have a YouTube channel. It's also called the Topcast, and you can even catch episodes of the Topcast on Anchor Podcast, or, you know, any of your favorite podcast outlets.
Hey, that's what's up. I heard some of what you were chiming in on. I appreciate you taking over the floor and everything. But yeah,
I would say sigmas the same as with alphas. A real alpha male is born, and then you have some alphas who become alphas due to circumstances. But a real alpha male is born an alpha male. He's a dominant male from the beginning, and it's already embedded in his personality to be like that. So, you know, I know there's going to be a lot of guys that say, Well, I'm alpha too. Yeah, that may be true, but this guy was born this way. You became that way. So that in itself denotes that there's a difference. And that's not to say that, you're no less of an alpha male or any less of a sigma male. It just means that, you became such as a due to circumstances and not because you already have that in your personality. I already have it in my personality to prefer to be by myself. Nobody had to make no one situation I've been in my lifetime made me say to myself one day, you know what? I'm gonna just stop hanging around people. I'm gonna try this hanging out by myself thing. Nah, I've been like that as far back as I can remember. And again, in my opinion, that's one of the most distinctive characteristics of Sigma males is that they're generally loners. A Sigma male would have been the cool guy in high school that didn't have much to say, and when somebody fucked with him, he kicked their ass, and then all the chicks would check him out.
Facts,
And
facts.
with that, that's my say on it.
Man, we definitely gotta chop it up again on this subject. We just barely touching it because yeah, one thing I'll leave you with is one of the guys that I did the Sigma interview with before, he was one of those type that believed that he was made. And I was like, okay, that's cool. And he gave his spiel on it. But my point of it is, um, that was basically my proof that yeah, there's a growing number of these guys. So it's still something to really address as time goes on, and even amongst the so-called black men, a lot of these guys that end up alone, how they're going to make it, because you see just like this growing crop of what I call strays and furrows. But like you said, some of them are probably not even sigma; they're just deltas and gammas and even omegas, and they don't even know it.
Well, like I said back on Instagram back in 2019, and I wish I would have never deleted that video because it was funny than a motherfucker. Just last, everybody was an alpha male a week ago. Now everybody's a sigma male. No, you're not, nigga. And with that, I appreciate you inviting me, Ray, man. It's been a while. Glad to be back. I appreciate everybody who came through in the chat for the show. Make sure you check me out on YouTube. I don't just talk about bitches or sigma males. I could even show you how to make some money. But yeah, thanks, Ray, man. I certainly appreciate you inviting me to your show again.
All right, no problem, fam. Good to have you back, and yeah, definitely more in store. Once again, and you could step out whenever you want, fam. Feel free. Uh, but y'all make sure y'all go check out Incredible Top. He has a lot of good content at his channel, and like he said, he talks about a lot of different things. I think y'all like him a lot, and yeah, hopefully y'all enjoy this live stream. I'll definitely I won't say that this Sigma identity crisis thing is a series, but I mean, I talk to a lot of people that can relate to this, who I think really genuinely represent the idea of Sigma. So far, my first one I did was with Black Ram 313. I did also a second live stream with Slayer Sigma. He was the one that was he was the one that he was made as a Sigma versus born as one per se. And then I don't even have that live stream up right now. So dang, it was a good one. But then and I think now in this pretty much this third installment, you have none other than the Incredible Top. And so we definitely gonna dive more into this because there's definitely something going on in the air with the solitary lifestyle and how this has come to be, especially given the times that we live in. But yeah, hope y'all enjoy this one. Have a good weekend, and me and Top, yeah, we're gonna step out, and we hope that even those on the replay, y'all check this out well. top, he'll also have a version of this same live stream at his channel. So for all those who be more at his channel than this one, go check it out. He'll have that uploaded. But yeah, much love to y'all. Thanks for stopping by, and see y'all on the next one. We out.
That's right. Peace. Make sure you go check out the live stream that me and Ray did 6-7 months ago called The Mathematics of Life. I think you'll dig it. Again, thanks, Ray. Peace to the chat.
Yeah, no problem, fam. All right, y'all.